KPEL News Time is 7:42. Bernie, I almost busted out laughing. I love that chair dancing.
I know, it looks strange, doesn't it? I look as if I'm having some sort of issue, you know? Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
Thank you. I try, you know, but it doesn't really come out right. It just doesn't. I do try, though.
Well, it's borderline between perhaps some sort of seizure.
Yes. Or which I have been known to have little tiny ones.
Or
so,
a desperate need to go to the restroom.
That's been known in this studio as well.
Or some other level of excitement.
Yes.
Yes.
As if I'm looking at a McRib in the studio.
As if.
Bernie, I've had another one, by the way, since we had our
Me
conversation.
Too.
Oh, yeah.
I know. And, dude, like, just ask for the extra sauce. Because, you know, the same thing you tell me, you got one with extra sauce.
Yeah.
Man, dude, I didn't think it could be better, but it's better.
This time I decided to leave everything on it. A lot of times I get it with just plain with the sauce. I was like, you know, I'm just going to leave everything else on it, and it was just as good.
Wasn't it delicious?
It was just as delicious.
I know. Okay, sorry, we got distracted.
No, I just have an unhealthy addiction to their fries.
Oh, no, I get them every time I get the McRib. I get the fries.
Because it's the right level of salt.
It is.
When you have one of those days when you need a little salt.
Oh, yeah.
A little sea salt, a little iron, maybe some ketchup.
Oh, man. You are not kidding. And sometimes, and I love ketchup, okay? Like, so much so.
Yeah.
My kids gave me ketchup one year in those little bottles. And it was, I mean, everybody was busting out laughing. So much so, though, that I love those fries so much, sometimes I just go all natural.
Yeah.
Just the fries.
That's all you need.
I don't
Especially
even have
hot
time.
right out of the bag.
I know.
Yeah, I can clear the bag before I make the left on Johnson.
Me too. It's so sad.
I can do that myself, but sometimes I force myself because I love ketchup so much to make sure to save at least half, so I can have at least half with the ketchup.
I got a T-shirt for Jackson one year that had the ketchup label, and it says, I like ketchup on my ketchup. Because really, my boy can do some damage to either ketchup or syrup.
We
all about the condiments.
Yes, we are apparently like kindred souls.
Yeah, you can join our condiment family. It's all good.
Well, Jackie is joining us this morning, Jaci Russo, for her Brand Buzz segment, and she brought in a visitor this morning as well.
Yes, this is sweet little Hercules. He is Maggie's dog. He's a rescue we've had for a little while, and he's on his way to a little visit to the vet.
He's very sweet.
And they weren't open yet, so he came with me here, and then I'll drop him off after.
We're very dog-friendly at this morning
show. Thank goodness. And he's very trained. So.
Yeah, I was about to say incredibly well-trained.
He is.
Yeah.
No,
well-mannered little dude.
Yeah. Well, I think that pets often reflect the personalities of their people, and so he and Maggie are very compatible. Yeah, so I don't know if he was this good when we got him, but he's this good now because of our, but you know, in a house with 4 dogs, because we're big on the rescues.
Yeah. Hey, 4 kids, 4 dogs.
Well,
it works.
Exactly, and they're all gender opposite, so we have 1 boy, 3 girls, and then in pets we have 1 girl, 3 boys. But so he is by far the best behaved.
Wow.
Yes.
Loving it.
How old is he?
We think he's probably at 4, maybe 5 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard with the rescues. Like Buddy, you know, he was a little pup. His weight, like the dog fit my hand, basically.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, but, you know, you never know exactly, you know.
Right.
And they have so many issues when you first get them, you know.
Right. Well, Hercules is predominantly poodle, so he doesn't shed. He's pretty quiet, but he's got some other in him, which is not sure of all his heritage.
He's a cutie.
He's just sitting down right in front of her right now.
He's just
like,
chilling.
Hey, you know.
No, he's very laid back and relaxed. He's super sweet.
Well, you know, speaking of relationships, the relationship between man and woman and their dog, we transition now to relationships and business. And as what you said, Jackie, the hardest part of advertising is the end, and all good things have to come to an end. And a lot of times these relationships may come to an end. A lot of times we talk about, you know, getting those relationships and building those relationships. But what do you do when it comes to that point in time where, you know, the business and the agency, they have to go their separate ways?
Well, I think part of it's about having good reviews. I think that every year, just like you would have an employee review, you need to have an advertising review. And not just with your agency, with your internal department, with all of your sales reps, with anybody who factors into your marketing. It's just a good time to take stock. And maybe you keep the agency. I mean, if you're our client, I'd like to think you're going to do that. But, you know, look at all the programs you have in place. You really have to do some serious soul searching and evaluation and analysis before you decide what you're going to do next year. You know, the old adage that half of my advertising is wasted, I don't know which half. Well, if you do these really thorough, in-depth reviews every year, maybe you can figure some of that out. Figure out what's working and what's not. Look at your tracking. Look at your analytics online. Look at what you've been happy with and frustrated with, what your assessment is personally versus what the analytics show up. And be honest. Be honest with every vendor in your life. whether it's the guy that services your copier and provides your Kentwood water, all the way to your advertising team. Let them know, because they may think you're happy with something, and that's why it keeps happening, not because they like it or they think it's good.
They think you love it.
Right. And so let's have a little honest soul searching. Let's have some discussion. Some of our best work has come out of the review where we go in ready to resign the account because we're done with that client, and all of a sudden we're able to turn it around because there's some honest dialogue about goals and aspirations and wishes and dreams.
Yeah, a little soul searching along the way is what you're saying can help save some big heartache in the end.
Absolutely. And I feel like right now the biggest relationships that we need to break up with are some of our football teams. It's time to have a little soul searching there, and maybe get some refresh for next year.
Yeah.
And I just coming out of November, I need to not ever have another month like that again.
God, that is the perfect way to put it, November, because I cannot remember any wins by our Saints or our Cajuns in those months.
Or LSU.
Or LSU, that's right.
Or
LSU
the Pels.
too.
I mean, really,
Yeah.
The Pelicans are 3-30? I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, not really. I think they're 3-19. But at the end of the day, our state has not had a good sports month. And I'm telling you, I feel like the whole state's in a funk.
I still feel like high school football has been the only, for me at least, has been the only positive in all this.
Absolutely. Thank goodness for all the teams that got to the semifinals and state playoffs. Because if not for them, I think we'd have some serious cutting. There'd be some depression in this state. Now, for some people, I think it's probably affected their Christmas shopping. I think that they have responded to some sad football with some healthy retail therapy. So that might be might be good for our economy. But I'd rather, be sitting through football games cheering to the end. And the thing is, I just knew it. I knew yesterday the Saints were going to pull it off. I could feel it. I said it all week long. It's just like them to have this horrible season, and because they can't fix their own season, go ruin somebody else's. And I mean, they were a minute away from really getting it done. And then they couldn't even do that right.
Yeah, it's kind of like Steve said earlier. We just hope the rest of the season just doesn't tank the rest of the way. Just give us a couple more good memories from this year, because there's been way too many bad ones.
Well, just go ahead and give us the first round draft right now, and let's wrap it up. Before anybody gets injured, we're not going to learn anything. We're not going to grow anymore. We just, there's a time where you need to just cut it off.
But Jackie, it's not like the Saints have the best history with draft picks either,
Yeah, I know.
See what I'm saying? It's just,
I know.
It's just a little unsure. I know. It just.
I know.
We are speaking with Jaci Russo this morning, Brand Buzz, as we do every Sunday, and we're talking about business relationships as well. And we're talking about how to help prevent getting to that point where the breakup is impending. But what if the breakup is impending? How do you know when it's time to move on?
Well, I think you have to have an honest reflection with yourself and look at, is the work successful? Is the work profitable? Is the work beneficial? And are you enjoying each other's company? I think that so much of business relationships need to be about compatibility. And so you can have the most successful campaign in the world and make a ton of money off of it. If you're miserable, then it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Not in this day and age. There's too many other clients out there. And so it really comes down to, creating a little evaluation checklist and go through that. And this is everything in life, whether it's your personal relationships or your professional ones, but go through and look at, is the work successful? Are we accomplishing something? Are we meeting our goals? Is it profitable? You can have the most successful account in the world, but if you're losing money on it, how's that helping anybody, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Get out of that while you can. And is it enjoyable? Do you like the people that you work with? Do you feel like you're compatible? Yeah, I heard some horror stories last week with some other advertising people. The work was good. They enjoyed the work. It was profitable enough, but the client was constantly wanting to go out to social encounters that they weren't really comfortable with.
Yeah.
And so it was after hours, and it wasn't fully clothed, and so it just puts you in an uncomfortable position. Yeah. And so that's not worth it then.
No.
Life's too short.
Absolutely.
And so you really have to evaluate it from all of those standpoints and say, does this work for us or does it not?
Yeah, and the thing that seems to be a theme with a lot of failed relationships is poor communication. I like how you put it. The kryptonite of all human relationships is poor communication.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the greatest books I ever read was about the 5 languages of love. And it
Great book.
Isn't it amazing, right?
Phenomenal.
But it works not just with a spouse. It works with kids. It works with coworkers. It works with clients. It works everywhere. You got to figure out how to speak to them because we really do all talk different languages.
We do.
It's a phenomenal book, by the way. I would recommend the daily devotionals that go with it.
Absolutely.
As well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love how we're all like, yay, we're all in agreement on that one.
Oh, little kumbaya moment.
It was cute.
So we don't have to fire each other for next year. We can keep doing this.
Oh, most definitely.
See? It's all good.
If you don't come here on Mondays, there'd be big tears.
I would be sad. I enjoy it.
I know. Well, because not only do we always learn something, you're upbeat too.
Yes.
Wow. Thanks.
You're perfect for Mondays. Again, you're
Plus
a ray
you
of
love
sunshine
sports.
on Mondays.
I do love talking about the sports. It gets really sad though during the summer we don't have sports to talk about.
I know.
Unless it's an Olympics year.
Or Lafayette Little League.
Well, Lafayette Little
there
League.
you go.
But we're done. We aged out. Jack's finished. He's hung it up. I know. It's sad. Won a couple state championships, got his name on a sign by the concession stand, and we walked out the door, dropped glove, hit the exit. But it's high school ball now, and so we have a whole new learning experience. He was invited by the head coach of University of Notre Dame to go do a clinic up there a couple weeks ago, and so it was he was one of 60 high school players around the country.
Wow.
And
incredible.
As a rising sophomore, he's getting ready to start his sophomore season. He was the youngest player out there, and that was kind of impressive.
That is impressive. That's awesome.
So now we have a whole new level of baseball things to talk about since we're too old for Little League now.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Well, Jaci Russo has been our guest this morning. Jaci, as always, we appreciate you coming by. And
thanks.
Where can we get these nuggets of wisdom?
You can go to the blog, razorbrandingblog.com.
All right, Jaci.
We
thank you
love
so
it.
much.
Thank you.
Have a great day. All right, coming up now on 7:54, we've got our Fox Business Report, all of that coming up.